Against a very hard prep in Denver. Pleased, we were 1-0. That was what was in front of us, and we need to go back and get ready for a very talented Omaha team that's probably playing as good as they've played since they've been in the Summit League. Questions?
What is it about the home floor?
You know, is it just the home floor? Is it sleeping in your bed the night before? Is it just the structure and routine that 18 to 22, 23-year-olds really become accustomed to? Or is it just the pride, the factor of it's not just about them, it's the servant leadership that we talk about, the guys that have started this streak, you know, going back 2 years ago. Whatever it is, I don't know, but we're excited. We have a baton that we pass around. It has a sticker for each win on it. It's getting full, but there's plenty of room on it.
Anything from those young guys? You've talked quite a bit this year about the freshmen and sophomores on the roster with playing minutes. Did you see anything from them getting their first Summit League game under their belt and their first Summit League win?
You could sense it. Our assistant coaches talked about it. I'm not out there much on the court in the pregame, but just a higher level of focus, maybe some nerves, some anxiousness, which in all actuality is pretty good. It means they're locked in, and I thought they responded. You know, a guy like Kai is just getting more and more comfortable out there a little bit. It wasn't a game for Dylan that had nothing to do with anything. In fact, he was coming off a career game. But just pleased with the youth and how he responded. And we stress it all the time. Those 14 games, those non-conference games, take nothing away from them. They're a lot to learn. But with where we're at in the Summit League and a mid-major program, this is where we're cutting our teeth. And as a head coach, it was real exciting to see us locked in yesterday afternoon.
How nice is this team in the fact that you can approach them and say, Carlin Dupree, you're coming off the bench today. Dylan, you're not going to see as many minutes because of who we're playing against. In the sense that, I mean, Carlin Dupree said it after the game, that's what you asked him to do, any role he can play. How true to form is that for this team?
Yeah, that's pretty special. And I don't like singling anybody out, but Carlin's a guy that started all 33 games last year that won a Summit League championship. Started the 14 games prior to this, and then sit down with them and explain to them why. And it really didn't have much to do with how Carlin was playing, or good, bad, or indifferent. I thought Kai was playing well. I think Carlin's playing as well as he's played since he's been here. It was just some versatility with some rotation things, and pleased. But that absolutely, and I was really pleased with Dylan yesterday. Dylan didn't play but the last 2 minutes, but I thought his energy on the bench was great. And first one up, giving high fives, and he's a team guy. Dylan will go right back this afternoon into the starting lineup. It was just a matchup thing, and it's amazing what can be accomplished if no one cares who gets the credit.
How do you guys approach that, though? I mean, there's a lot of young men, college basketball players across the country who could take that. Do you guys talk to them about that kind of thing? Is that your coaches and your staff and the way you guys approach these guys, or is this just who you recruited?
I think absolutely. I think it goes back to who we recruited. Obviously, you identify talent early in the process, but you recruit a person, you recruit a willing student, and then you go back to the player and you make sure you check box 1 and 2. And again, we tell them our recruiting pitch is different than a lot of people. We're going to promise you 2 things. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life, and it's going to be the most fun you've ever had in your life. And when they come and they commit to that process, it's pretty cool, because then you can go back to those moments. And when I sat down with Carlin the other day and explained it, he looked at me kind of cross-eyed, which I don't blame him. And he said, Coach, if this is what's best for the team, absolutely. And it's nice, and you get rewarded as a coach a little bit when Kai starts and has 15, Carlin comes off and owns his role and has 16, and hopefully that just continues going forward.
Coach, is this some with the personnel you have this year versus last year and maybe even the year before, as far as who you want to put out there? Is this something you're going to be seeing a lot of shuffling up the starting lineup throughout the year?
Well, Denver is just so unique in the prep and the way they play, and that was pretty specific. I think as we get going here a little bit, depending on, knock on wood, injuries or the course of different things, we'd like to get to consistent where we're basing what we're doing on us, not necessarily about who we're playing, but we also do feel very comfortable. Last year, we felt like we went to 7 pretty strong, and then there was a little bit of a drop-off. We do feel, again, with Malik, it wasn't a game for him. He's continuing to show some things, needs to continue to show some even more things as we get into the heart of it. But as you go to 7, you also feel 8, 9, there's not that significant drop-off that there might have been last year, and even at times 10 and 11 with this group.
What do you see out of Omaha? What kind of challenges do they pose to you?
Well, they play so fast, and you go from playing really slow to what we did yesterday afternoon to basically the opposite. Thursday night at 7. It starts there, and then they're just got really talented pieces. Devin Patterson scoring at a high level. Trayshawn Thurman's a really talented sophomore. They've added the Hollins kid, a junior college transfer, and then White, the Wichita State transfer. Now he's been into the league for a year, from last year and going into now this year, and they're playing with a ton of confidence. They've had some great road wins. And the thing that we talk about all the time, and I'm sure a lot of programs at NDSU talk about, we've got a big target on our back, and we're going to get everybody's best shot, but that's also why you come to NDSU.
Describe this kind of week. Omaha, then round on the plane to go to Tulsa for Saturday, the preparation, getting ready for that.
Yeah, I appreciated Joe Scott's comments afterwards. You know, it's conference play. You know, whether we like it, whether we don't like it, it's set, and we got to make the most of it for the next 2.5 months. And we're going to use this day a little bit different than we normally would. Usually this would be a completely off day if we were in school, but we're not in school. I don't want them sitting around in their dorms, in their apartments. So they were with our strength coach this morning. We'll bring them back this afternoon, go through a film session and a really, really light walkthrough, and then go at it Tuesday and Wednesday for Omaha, and then we'll refocus and get on the plane Friday for Tulsa.
How big of was it a sigh of relief when you got back to hear about Corey's injury? Because it seemed like maybe it was dire in Utah and maybe it didn't turn out to be nearly as bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go back and look at it, and it was a scary situation, and hyperextended it pretty good. And I think just the magnitude of the moment got up with Corey a little bit, and he was just so tense and couldn't relax that they couldn't get a true eval, especially the night. We got it evaluated the next day by an actual orthopedic doctor in Logan, and he gave us what we thought was pretty good news, and obviously that carried over. Texting with Corey over break, he was able to get moving around, and we're a young team, and you want every piece you can have, especially when it's one of your two seniors.
How big is this first week just to get off to a good start in the summer league? I know Paul talked about getting that first win and then it kind of springboards you into the season. How big is the first week?
Yeah, hopefully we can ride that confidence that we gained, like we did last year, or Robert, South Dakota State. We got Denver the first one. Hopefully we're fortunate enough Thursday night to get that one and roll some confidence. But they're all big this time of year. It becomes a 16-game season, now a 15-game season. We've taken care of the first part. Now we need to lock in and focus on the second one.